Analysis of the film Get Out, 2017. Plot summary. Chris Washington, a young black photographer, travels with his girlfriend, Rose Armitage, to spend the weekend with her parents. At first, the family seems polite, welcoming, and progressive, almost too progressive. But small, unsettling behaviors start raising red flags, building a steady sense of tension. As Chris notices the disturbing way the other black staff members behave, his suspicion only grows. What should have been a simple family visit turns into a shocking revelation involving manipulation, violence, and a deeply disturbing conspiracy. To survive, Chris must confront a horror far beyond anything he imagined. Strengths. Powerful performances. Daniel Kaluuya delivers an emotionally charged and quietly intense performance, expressing fear, discomfort, and disbelief with just his eyes and facial expressions. Allison Williams and Bradley Whitford perfectly sustain the film's facade of friendliness and false warmth. Bold and innovative social commentary. The film tackles covert racism, performative liberalism, and microaggressions with a level of courage rarely seen in mainstream cinema, using horror as a tool to highlight real societal issues. Sharp direction and precise writing. Jordan Peele's direction is incredibly tight. Every detail has intention. Nothing feels random or wasted. Everything serves the narrative. Perfect balance of humor, horror, and satire. Blending genres is risky, but Peele delivers carefully timed humor that never undermines the tension. Exceptional atmospheric buildup. The feeling of unease grows consistently until it erupts into a brutal and revealing third act. Weaknesses. Some metaphors are a bit on the nose. Certain symbols may feel too obvious for viewers who prefer more subtlety in their horror. The humor may feel out of place for some. At moments, the comic relief can break immersion for viewers seeking pure horror. Missing the subtext limits the experience. The social layer is essential. Without it, the film may seem simpler than it actually is. Fun facts. About Get Out 2017. Jordan Peele's directorial debut. This was Peele's first feature film, and it instantly became a cultural milestone. The script was inspired by real conversations. Peele drew from real experiences and stories involving subtle racism. Daniel Kaluuya's audition shocked everyone. He repeated a crying scene multiple times with tears falling in the exact same moment each take, earning the role on the spot. The sunken place became a cultural symbol. It represents the helplessness of racial oppression and inspired academic debates, essays, and internet memes. The original ending was much darker. In the early version, Chris is arrested by the police. Peele later changed it to avoid an overly bleak message. Earlier drafts of the script were totally different. The Armitage family originally had simpler motivations, which Peele refined to strengthen the film's social weight. Filmed in just a few weeks. A fast, low-budget production typical of the horror genre, yet the final result far exceeds expectations. Loaded with hidden details. Small gestures, lines of dialogue, and camera choices foreshadow the truth long before it's revealed. Lessons from Get Out 2017. Covert racism is as dangerous as overt racism. The film exposes how polite behavior can hide deeply malicious intent. Trust your instincts. From the start, Chris senses something is wrong. Ignoring that feeling nearly destroys him. Not everything welcoming is genuine. Appearances can be carefully constructed to lure victims into traps. Control can be disguised as kindness. The Armitage family uses politeness as a mask for exploitation. Personal freedom is non-negotiable. The film shows how quickly autonomy can be stolen when others begin making decisions for you. Facing the truth is painful, but necessary. Chris must confront reality to survive. Denial would be fatal. Silence can be a form of violence. Avoiding the confrontation of racism only helps sustain it. Box office and ratings. Get Out had a budget of $4,500,000 and grossed roughly $255 million worldwide. This contrast is remarkable. Social horror films rarely break out on such a massive scale, proving how explosively the movie captured the public's attention. The film received 98% approval from critics and 86% from audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. It's an impressive balance. Critics admire its intelligence and thematic construction, while the general audience responds to its tension and emotional impact. Now, here's our opinion.
I won't lie. Get Out was one of those movies I was hesitant to watch at first. It seemed like it might be a drama with a certain ideology and complexity behind it. And in general, drama films don't attract me very much. I also imagined it would deal with themes that were too dense or difficult to understand. I thought it might not be interesting, or that I wouldn't understand half of what was going on. Sometimes I just want to watch a movie to relax. But that fear was just a misconception on my part, because I didn't actually know what the movie was about. I just assumed it was some sort of drama. But the film had such a huge impact and generated so much buzz that I became curious. So I decided to give it a chance. And let me tell you, I was surprised. Really surprised. First, because the movie's not a drama at all. It's a horror film with a strong social commentary. Two elements I definitely wasn't expecting. And after I watched it, I found myself genuinely intrigued by everything I saw, especially because of the message it delivers about racism. Get Out could easily be confused with those bad woke movies we see everywhere today. In fact, it is a woke movie, but it's woke done right, without exaggeration, without forced messaging, without over-the-top activism. The film delivers an intelligent, well-crafted social critique, completely different from the typical woke content that gets pushed nowadays. This is what a respectable woke movie looks like. The film also shows how racism is treated in modern times. The world has changed, and racism has adapted. One example is the group of wealthy white people who claim they're not racist, yet display subtle behaviors that clearly reveal their hypocrisy. Like that scene where the girlfriend's father says he would have voted for Barack Obama a third time. Seemingly harmless, but it exposes how many white people try to appear woke just to look good. That reminded me of something I often notice in real life. There are many white people who get offended on behalf of black people more than black people themselves. They claim everything is racist, argue that calling someone black is racist, or say certain words shouldn't be used at all, even when many black people don't mind those terms, especially when context and tone are respectful. I've met people with nicknames based on their skin tone, and they genuinely don't care. It's part of their identity within their community. But in the movie, that group of polite, politically correct white people hides much darker intentions, malicious intentions. I was impressed with the intelligence behind the film and how each element was handled, both the horror and the social commentary. And honestly, I was shocked when I found out it was considered a woke movie. If I'd known that beforehand, I probably wouldn't have watched it, especially considering the wave of awful woke films being released at that time. Forced messaging, warped ideological points, attacks on traditional family values. But Get Out is completely different. It's a positive example of what woke filmmaking can be when done with actual talent. One of the biggest criticisms the movie received was about the ending. A lot of people thought the protagonist should have been arrested, since he's found in a situation that looks incriminating. When the police car shows up, it sets the expectation that he'll be immediately arrested, and realistically, that's exactly what would have happened. But the movie subverts that expectation. The person inside the vehicle is his friend, someone who knows him, trusts him, and understands he would never commit that crime. I found that ending brilliant because it was unexpected. The director truly knew how to surprise the audience, even though some people preferred a more realistic conclusion. But honestly, the movie didn't need a tragic ending to deliver its message. A lot of people wanted a conclusion that said the black man always gets screwed, but that message is already clearly implied throughout the film. Even though the protagonist survives and things ultimately work out for him, the movie still makes it very clear how black people are often misjudged, mistreated, and unfairly targeted. The point is there, subtle, strong, and well executed. Get Out is, to me, one of the most important horror thrillers of the decade. It doesn't just create fear and tension, it uses horror as a mirror to expose uncomfortable social truths, and it does so with intelligence, boldness, and real emotional depth. Jordan Peele's direction, Daniel Kaluuya's performance, and the script's layered symbolism come together to deliver an experience that goes beyond entertainment. It's a warning, a commentary, and an exceptionally effective thriller at all once. I highly recommend it, especially for viewers who appreciate films that aren't afraid to challenge, provoke thought, and use genre filmmaking to call out injustice. In the end, I really enjoyed this movie. It surprised me, it stuck with me, and it's one of those memorable films you watch once and never forget. That's all for now. Session closed. If all goes well, see you in the next video. Until then.